Hey, what's up everybody? Danny here with the Brewing Neighbor, and thanks for joining me today. First and foremost, I would like to wish each and every one of you a Happy New Year or Happy Brew Year. I'd like to make a quick video explaining to you where I've been. I know I promised more than I delivered. I apologize for that. So I just wanted to throw together a quick video, to tell you what happened, where I've been, where we're going this coming brew year, and just kind of catch up with you guys, and well, let's just get into it. Okay, so the last video I put out before the Christmas special was the brew day for the brown ale. And maybe a couple videos before that, I did just a quick little kind of impromptu video similar to this one, where I showed you and tasted the very first brew that we did on the channel. That was the amber ale. And I told you, well, I have to learn how to talk about beer. Well, alright, so chapter 1 of this video is never underestimate the ability to lie to yourself. Of course I know how to talk about beer. I've been drinking beer for 16 years now. Well, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? Is it full-bodied? Is it light-bodied? Is it hoppy? Is it not? Is it malty or is it crisp? Is it floral? Is it earthy? Is it citrusy? I know all those things. I have a cooking channel. I know how to talk about things regarding flavor and scent. I might have had a little bit of imposter syndrome, and especially in front of the camera, maybe a little bit of ego, that I didn't know how to talk about the fact that I didn't like what I brewed. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't repugnant or anything, but it just wasn't what I wanted. When there's a gas station down the road that'll literally sell me anything that I would rather have. And when I realized that, I got a little bit weary of firing up the camera. So the brews that I told you that I was going to make, I didn't even film. I didn't rage delete the footage. I didn't even fire up the camera. And well, I just want to be honest with you guys. I'm going to take you through those real quick. Let's start out with the brown ale. Here we go. All right. So here we go. This has been in the fridge for a good long time. You can tell it's the brown ale by the B that I sharpied on there. And I will say this one carbonated very nicely. Can you hear this? Oh, yeah. Here we go. So even with a very gentle pour, well, carbonated very nicely. No complaints. No carbonation here. Using my local pint glass. My local pint glass. Rheingeist. Leave the rest of that schmoo in there. Yeah, so it smells great. It definitely has that toasted kind of nutty aroma that you would expect in a brown ale. I like that. I love how carbonated this one got. And as you'll notice here as we go through these beers, a little lighter in body than I'd care for, especially in color. But it's got a muddy kind of dirt flavor to it. It's not undrinkable. It's not unbearable. I've made it through about a case of these. But we did this back in August, and it's 2026. 2 cases of beer would not have that. It wouldn't last that long in my house. The hops are there. There's not enough hops to cover it up. It's muddy, okay? It's muddy. So after this brew, this was the last video that I filmed. We're gonna put this back here. Kind of lost a little bit of confidence in my videos. I need a little bit of a vote of confidence from myself before I hit the record button. I hope you can understand that. These videos take a lot of time to edit and publish, and if I'm not going to enjoy watching them myself, I have a rule: I don't publish them. I know I said I was going to publish these videos, but I needed to take a step away and figure out what was going on. So let's go to the next one, which I believe I promised you after the brown ale was a pale ale. Be right back. Alright, here's the pale ale. You can tell because of the P. I'm going to use another local brewery's pint glass, Fretboard. If you guys haven't heard of them and you have the opportunity to purchase anything from them, I recommend it. This is from the same people the brown ale kit came from. This one also carbonated very nicely. That's a lot of my bad. That was a poor pour. There's a decent amount of schmoo in this one. More on that in a minute. So let's talk about this one real quick. Very wonderful flora aroma. Not getting any toasted malts, which is good because this is a pale ale. It's all hops. It's all hops on the scent. I think this one used roughly 3 ounces of Cascade hops, which Cascade, very citrusy, very fruity. They're more citrusy in scent. You don't get the fruit until you taste it. But so far, scent-wise, from your snout, everything seems right. I did a terrible job pouring that. It is a beautiful color. I'm not going to tell you about that quite yet, and you'll see why here in a moment. But once again, okay, actually that one tastes pretty good. I do really like that one when it is succeeded by that one. There's a lot of hops in this that cover up that muddy flavor, but if I cracked this one open for the first one of the day before having something to compare it to, I taste that same muddy flavor in this one. So it was at this point that I realized something was wrong, and that's when I turned the camera off, because I was like, why is it muddy? It's actually quite clear. That's actually a beautiful beer. It's not quite the right color for a pale ale, but I recognized that something was wrong. So that's when I turned to the internet. Lord have mercy. Yeah, a couple sips in, I got that muddy flavor, so we're gonna put this into purgatory too. So after so many kind of, we'll call them faux pas instead of failures, decided it was time to start trying things. Now, I am a bit of a driveway mechanic, and professionally I am an IT engineer, so I do know how to troubleshoot things. However, I don't do beer brewing professionally, so instead of going professionally at it, I actually took the shade tree mechanic approach and just started throwing stuff at it and seeing what hit. So you can say that for a few brews, I went, I don't know if it's fixed, but it's different. So I actually ordered another pale ale kit. Let me grab that, and I'll tell you what I did differently than that one. Here we go. This is the pale ale kit that I did not tell you guys about previously. You want to hear the carbonation? Carbonated very well. Okay, before I pour this, the difference between this one and that one. This one, I took everything that I possibly could to get it nice and clear. This one got transferred to the secondary fermenter. It got a cold crash in the secondary fermenter. I used a Whirlfloc tablet to help get it clear. And I think that's everything I did to help get it clear. And when I got the muddy flavor in that one, I was like, well, hang on. Previously, before my hiatus of brewing for like a decade, not the hiatus you guys saw, I had never used a Whirlfloc tablet before. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy the same kit, and we're not gonna do any of that to make sure that that's not where my problem is coming from. Hence this beer here. So we're using another local one. This is actually where they used to supply me with my stuff. These are the guys who went out of business earlier in the channel. You can see here, I'm gonna do a better job pouring this one. There we go. Stop right before the schmoo comes out. Let that sit for a minute. Yeah, the same, nice. Kind of citrusy. This one smells good. I love Cascade hops. And apparently Cascade hops grow really well in my latitude, so hint for you, maybe we should grow those here. But yeah, this one, same color. You might be able to see this one's a little more cloudy than this one. Let me bring it back. Same color. Can you guys see? Nice and clear, kind of cloudy. So this one, Whirlfloc tablet at the end of the brew. Primary for 2 weeks, secondary for 4 weeks, got cold crashed for 4 weeks in the lagering cabinet. This one, because of the cold crash, did get additional yeast added at bottling. Very clear, very clear. Still tasted muddy. This one, the only thing it got was transferred to the secondary. No cold crash, no Whirlfloc, same exact kit as that. Little hazy, same exact kit. Muddy. Muddy, 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 muddy. That's where I kind of started to lose my mind, and I went a little bit manic, and I bought kits that I didn't tell you guys about because I was like, what is going on? I went to the old Google machine, and that's really where things kind of went left of center. I saw people saying, well, you can't brew a good beer in plastic fermenters, or you shouldn't be doing partial boils. You can't use water from the street. You gotta have this, that, and the other thing. And I started to feel like I was being guarded from the truth. It really actually frustrated me because I've done this before. I used to have beers that I really, really liked that I brewed myself. And I'm having the same problem. It's not like I'm having different problems. I'm having the same problem. In fact, I'm following the directions from reputable companies buying these kits. And it just got so frustrated. Like, this is months ago. I shouldn't still have these. 2 cases of beer should last maybe a month if you're being really responsible. Muddy. That one goes in beer purgatory as well. All right, now let's fast forward to the last video I published before this one. It was actually my Christmas special that I did a joint effort on with my cooking channel. Just a brief note on that. When I stopped making videos on this channel, it was also for another reason. I got so distracted brewing beer and making these videos that I let the neighbor's kitchen I left it kind of ignored, and I started losing money on it because of that. Now, it was not very wise because I had to rebuild that. This channel's brand spanking new. I'm doing this all for free once again, starting from ground zero. So I would ask you, if you like these videos, maybe consider checking out the other channel. And if that's not your thing, no worries. I'm not asking for your support on both. But if you would help me support this one, please make sure you're subscribed, like the video, comment when you have something interesting to say. And the sooner we can make this one also chip in a little bit of change, it helps because these videos take a lot of time. I love making them. I have zero complaints about that. But a little bit of goes a long way. Okay, without with that said, appreciate you for listening. Let's talk about the Christmas special. The Berry Brunch Christmas Stout was my first beer recipe that I made on my own in a very long time. And oh my goodness, did I overthink it. And I think it paid off. Let me go grab one. We'll talk about it. All right, here's a Berry Brunch Christmas Stout. Not really local, but I have driven here before. We'll use a Christmas ale. Pint glass. Carbonated very well. Do another good pour here, hopefully. Stop right before the schmoo. So if you've not seen the Christmas special episode, this beer, I crafted this recipe from the inspiration of Mom's Christmas morning baked French toast. She bakes French toast with strawberries and blueberries and all the other nice fixins of French toast. And I thought, well, it might be kind of fun to make something after that. Oh, it smells so good. So there's lactose sugar in here to mimic the whipped cream that we all put on top. There is blueberries and strawberries in here. There's a few cinnamon sticks. I put not a lot, I put oat in here to kind of mimic the bread and hopefully to give it a little bit more body like bread. Very much bread in a can kind of thing. Came out very good. But right before I brewed this, when I was panicking with all my muddy flavors priorly, I think I finally came across something that wasn't, we'll call it gate-kept. I felt there was a lot of people on the internet who homebrew who were being gatekeepers. And actually, I know some of you are going to hate this, but instead of doing a search, I turned to AI and I said, hey, I have a lot of brews. They're all kits. And I said, I've changed water. I've changed my use of Whirlfloc or not. I might have not mentioned that. I've tried distilled water. I've tried soft water. I've bypassed my water softener. Nothing changed. I typed all that into Perplexity. That's my favorite flavor of AI. Immediately it said, it sounds like you're not getting a clean wort. And I went, okay, listening. Well, I've been doing that. You've seen me, if you've been around, when we're in the sink doing the cool down. I shake the brew kettle because by mixing around all that ice cold water around it, it's going to bring the temperature down quicker. But in the process, anything that was in suspension that then fell to the bottom, we're putting back into suspension. And then, once we get it down to temperature, you've seen me use the instant read thermometer. We bring it over to the counter behind me to put it into the fermenter. And that's another thing I think I was screwing up, where we just kind of dump it in. Whoops. I took all that into account and I went, why have I been going to all these forums when I could have just asked this magical chat robot about how we do here? So this is supposed to be a stout. It is lighter than it should be. It's lighter in ABV than it should be. But the things that I changed in here, and you can see this on video in the Christmas special, I did chill it in the sink in an ice bath, just like normal, but then I took it out and I let it sit for a good 10 minutes and let everything in suspension come down. I don't believe I added any water to the brew kettle before we racked it into the fermenter instead of dumped it. And then the additional water that I added to get my full volume, I put in after everything was transferred. So all the schmoo was left in the brew kettle. And then add the water into the fermenter. And look at that, guys. Nice and clear. Actually, it's a little too clear for a stout. We'll address that here in a minute. But, a beer worth enjoying all of. No muddy flavor. We had a fantastic time drinking it on Christmas Day. This is certainly not an entire W, but it's also not an entire L either. As soon as Shmoo started coming out of the brew kettle in the racking cane, I cut it off. I didn't have my 5 gallons, so in the fermenter I added a lot more water than I probably should have, to be honest with you, to get a 5-gallon batch. That's why it is so low in ABV and color. But it is certainly a W. Even if it's a lowercase w, there's no muddy flavor in this. As a matter of fact, I can pick out everything I added in here. There's a lot going on. There's strawberry, there's blueberry, there's the lactose sugar to mimic the whipped cream. There's the cinnamon, which is an ingredient in French toast in and of its own. It's all in here. This is, I did not do anything with my fractometer measurement device that isn't called a fractometer. I have the other one, hydrometer. This is probably about 3.1%, which just accidentally makes a great brunch. Which accidentally makes a great breakfast beer because you don't want to get tuned up in the morning. Maybe you do. Me and my family don't. But this is certainly closer to a W than it is an L. And I'm super proud of the fact that, yeah, we did a little bit of hit and miss kind of stuff. But it's good, and we got through the muddy thing. I have one more to show you. I'm going to put this here. This one does not belong in purgatory. Check this out, guys. Which one did I get? Oh, one of my favorite places I've ever been. The Filling Station Microbrewery in Traverse City, Michigan. The final kit that I think I told you about was a stout. This is that stout. I brewed this after the Berry Brunch Christmas Stout. Show you the carbonation. Ooh. Wonderful. There we go. Look at that. Can't see through that one, can you? Ready? Oh. I finally hit the mark on this one. However, it is with full disclosure, I have to admit, this is not just the kit, okay? After spending all this money on kits and honestly dumping a few of them because I needed bottles and I wasn't going to finish what was in those bottles, and all of the trial and tribulations I had, and honestly just kind of basked, steeped if you will, in frustration, I ended up buying some new equipment. Don't get excited, it's nothing fancy, we're not going into all grain yet. But I do have some new equipment to share with you on our next Brew Day video. And one of the things that I learned from the Berry Brunch Christmas Stout was doing a partial boil and then having to fill up the water. If you do not account for your brew recipe to have enough gravity in the partial boil, adding water is what's going to make a stout see-through versus what you could hide behind if you needed to. I don't know why you need to hide behind a stout. So I took a 5-gallon kit and did a 6.5 gallon full boil. There's a little hint to one of the things you're gonna see next. But all the leftover ingredients from this, because you don't order stuff online for a custom recipe as an exact amount. Depending on the ingredient, you now purchase it online at like 1 pound or maybe 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, so on. But you don't necessarily need that. So the leftovers from this, after I weighed what I needed, I added to a kit. So it was kit plus the extras from this, which gave me a 6.5 gallon boil, which allowed me to leave all of the schmoo behind, giving me a super clean wort that also had a high enough gravity. I still didn't measure it. I did finally buy that tool. We're using it next time. You have my word. But this has no muddy flavor, the color I want, the ABV nobody needs. One of these will put you on your butt. I don't know. This is probably 8 to 9%. There was that many leftovers. Oh, it's so good though. And it's syrupy thick. I love it. Ooh. So, with that being said, I'm going to sip on this while I tell you about where we're going. I told you where we've been. Now, let's talk about 2026. First and foremost, I got far more support on this channel than I had ever anticipated in 25. I didn't know there was a thirst for this kind of a channel anymore. And when I kind of stepped away for a little bit out of frustration with my off flavors, and then I checked back, some of the comments you guys left, some of the questions about where I was, just meant the world to me, and I want to thank you so very much for that. We're going to keep going, all right? So moving on, in 26, this last kind of hurdle, we'll call it, really pointed me in the direction that I want to take this channel in. So when I went to forums and such, when I was having a problem, I know I mentioned this before, but I really felt like I was being hidden from the truth. There was a lot of gatekeepers out there, and I didn't appreciate that. This is supposed to be a craft of love and passion. Only in our current time can everybody access this. Equipment's not that expensive, and everybody has a heat method to do it. And it just bummed me out that there were people who were so snobby they thought that, oh, you can't do this unless you have 1,000. Fuck you. If you're a gatekeeper to the craft, this craft, we are not here to compete with each other. We are here to support each other and build each other up. So that's where the channel's going. This is a place we're going to do fun experiments. We're going to overcome problems. The next time I find a problem, I promise I won't shut off the camera. I do apologize. I hope that you can give me a little bit of grace in that. I do run 2 channels, and this one I'm doing totally for free. So we're gonna give each other good advice here. No gatekeeping. The other thing that kind of bummed me out was I've been buying kits and I've been following the directions to a T. Okay, except for that first time. The only thing I really modified there was it didn't say to use a secondary, and I used a secondary. I want to start making recipes with you guys and sharing those for free. We'll just put them in the description. I'm not really interested in doing a website. So that's where the channel's going. The other comment that I got a lot of is, am I getting back into all grain? Okay, the answer is yes, but I don't think that's on my 2026 bingo card. I have a few house projects. I'd like to buy some new furniture this coming year. And I'd really like to do all grain right, so I don't want to restrict myself to like a budget. It's going to have a budget, but I don't want it to be the budget that I can have, if that makes sense. I don't see us getting into all grain in 26. I would like to get into lagering a little bit. We're going to do a kit while I still have my freezer set up as a fermentation fridge. That'll be really neat. It might be cool, so they say. Ooh, that was a bad dad joke. Not even a dad. However, it's time for me to sign off because somebody's about to comment below that I talk too much, and that's fine. I do love talking to you guys, alright? Before we move on to something other than extract kits, I would like to show you my new brewery in the next video and how we do things with a full boil and a few other toys that I have to share with you guys. We can't move off of extract kits until we get one absolutely right and on camera. So, from some of the brews that are in Purgatory, I want you to comment below. We'll do this democratic style. What kit do you want me to purchase again? And we will do that one start to finish. Hopefully no muddy flavor. We're going to go through all of the possible hiccups I might have had. We'll get that out. It'll be fun. So let me know, do you want, I tell you what, we'll open it up beyond just the ones you saw in this video. Should we redo the amber ale? Should we redo the Kolsch? Should we redo the brown ale? The pale ale? We don't have to redo this one, but would you guys rather see the stout? Let me know in the comments below which one I should purchase, and that will be the next Brew Day video. Make sure to get your vote in. I'd like to order it within the next week because I'm running out of beer. Okay, I'm out of beer that's good, except for this one. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope I didn't talk too much. I just wanted to give you an explanation of what's been going on and where we're going. I wish each and every one of you a happy new year or happy brew year. And once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support on the channel. Till next time, guys, be well. Let me know your vote down below.